Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this FP&A Trends webinar, where today we'll look at empowered decision-making, human-led AI-backed intelligence in FP&A. My name is Hans Gobin. I'll be your facilitator today, and I'm very proud to announce that today we have 364 or so people joining us from 37 countries around the world. What will we be talking about today then? So in terms of agenda, we've got trends in AI and ML, what's been happening there. We will look at how AI is driving operational efficiency, a case study within Dell. We will also then look at a holistic approach to data-driven insight and the change management sides for AI in FP&A. Finally, we'll look at how AI and technology is elevating the role and insight in FP&A. We will do some conclusions and recommendation, and then we will do our Q&A session. So let us now look at who have we got on the panel today. So ladies and gentlemen of the panelists, please turn your webcam on and come and join me. So let me start by introducing our first speaker today, Saurabh Jha, who's Director Data Science at Dell. He's joining us from Austin, Texas in the United States. And today he will talk to us about operational efficiency because of AI, in specific with the Dell case study. Saurabh, great to have you with us today.
Thanks, and looking forward to the meeting.
Thank you, Saurabh. Our second speaker will be Miriam Pazuki, Associate Director, BPA at Novartis Institute for Biomedical Science. She's also joining us from the United States, but from Boston in Massachusetts. And today she will look at holistic approach to data-driven insight and change management for AI and share with us all of her experience. Miriam, it's great to have you on the panel today.
Thank you, Hans. Great to be here and looking forward for today's meeting.
Thank you very much, Miriam. And last but not least, we've got Chris Porter, who's Director of Product Marketing at Prophix, based in Toronto in Canada. And he will share with us how AI and technology is elevating the role of FP&A. Chris, great to have you with us.
Thank you, Hans, and really appreciate the partnership working with FP&A Trends, and I look forward to our discussion with my fellow panelists today.
Most welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got three great panelists and three fantastic presentations on AI, human-led AI, shortly coming to you. But for now, I have quite a few housekeeping to do, so I will ask the members of the panel to just turn their webcam off and go on mute for a bit whilst I run through some housekeeping. So first one is, let me introduce to you my, or shall I say our technology sponsor for today, Prophix. We all know Prophix. They're transforming the way we budget, plan, and report. So thank you, Prophix, for being our technology sponsor. This is the page around FP&A Trends Group. What are our projects? What are our initiatives? Just in case you didn't know, we have international FP&A board in 30 cities, 16 countries, and 4 continents. And we're hoping to extend that somewhat this year as well. We also do FP&A Insight via our FP&A Trends.com website, webinars as you're attending, LinkedIn group, and digests as well. Also, a lot of FP&A education around research and consulting, best practice workshop, AI ML committee, and surveys and research, which I will share some insight with you shortly. Housekeeping items. So what are we in for? It is an hour webinar. We have your participation via 2 polling questions, so please do participate. We want to know what you are doing as far as AI and ML is concerned within your organization. Please, you can also ask questions via the chat box. We have time, limited time for maybe 2 questions or 3 questions to our panelists, but all of the questions will get answered to you, so do not hesitate. We will answer them directly to you via email. The presentation today is available for you to download in the handouts. You could do it now. If you if you don't, you will still get a copy and the recording after the meeting. Finally, when I close the meeting, there is a pop-up survey that will come. So please give us 30 or so seconds of your time. Tell us how we did, and also what would you like for us to talk about in the future. So please stay back and give us that feedback. I've got a couple of slides where I wanted to share some trends with you before we kick off the whole meeting. To start with, I've got some couple of great quotes here, and the first one is from Jeff Bezos. We are at the beginning of a golden age of AI. Recent advancement have led to invention that previously lived in the realm of science fiction. And guess what? We've only scratched the surface of what's possible. So there's lots more to come, as we all know. So we have to get our hands into it. The second one is a brilliant one. Our intelligence is what makes us human, and AI is an extension of that quality. So this is from Jan LeCun, professor at New York University. It's human who is driving AI is the key thing. So human-led AI. Without human, there won't be any AI. So food for thought there for you guys. Some key stats. 45% of our time is still being spent on low-value activities, and then only 34% on high-value activities. Low-value activities is much more around data, digging for data, cleansing data, etc. So only 34% of time FP&A is spending in driving decision-making, insight, etc. But we would like 56% of our time to be spent there. Why is that? That's a question we will answer during the course of the webinar. How long does it take to do a forecast? So 49% can produce a forecast in less than a week. What about the rest? 51%. The forecast is already obsolete, especially in an environment of volatility and uncertainty. 40% of respondents are satisfied with their forecast. 60% not really satisfied. Again, some stark stats there. What happens when we put AI and ML into play? So the 18% that we're doing insight generation comes to 25%. There's a plus 7% jump in there. The 15% becomes 24%, 9%. So in total, there is a jump of 16% from 33 to 49. So really, AI is driving us to do value-added activities. And finally, I just wanted to leave you with this, where the adoption of predictive and analytics and machine learning tools over the years, how many organizations are. We see a bit of a decline there from 2021 to 2023, just so you know, from 11% to 7%. And the big question is, why is that? And we will see our panelists talking about that in a little bit. So that is all from me for today. I will move on to our first presentation, which is on driving operational efficiency. And for that, we've got Saurabh Jha, Director Data Science at Dell, to talk to us about it. So how is AI driving operational efficiency? A case study from Dell. Saurabh, over to you whenever you're ready.
Thanks, Sen. On my next slide, please. Yeah. We are living in a very interesting time with computing and especially the human-computer interface getting transformed through natural language interface. This gives us a moment to rethink on how should we consume business intelligence at scale. The goal of business intelligence should not be just be a report with data and visualization, but it should be something which has the insights in the stories. I mean, you should have narratives, and that should be packaged together. So that's pretty much what I want to bring it here. So when we talk about automated commentary generation, the future of business intelligence is not visualization. As I said, it is narratives, and visualization and narratives goes hand in hand. While BI visualization absolutely conserve a need, but they help a certain subset to understand what's going on with the data. The problem is there's a large sample of individuals who do not understand visualization or very difficult to understand. So narratives gets the people out of the business. Visualization requires anybody looking at it to do the interpretation of visualization. We often see at times that a lot of communication around those visualizations is not very personalized. So there is an opportunity where we can automate the storytelling, and using natural language generation and natural language interface, the narratives will be able to give explain a lot of insights. I mean, I can give you an example. I mean, for example, there might be a strong quarter. Uh, you may have a strong quarter compared to what was last year, but you might have missed key opportunities. Now, this visualization will never tell this, but if we have a narratives with the visualization, then you get to know the story. Because if you want to just visualize the data and look at the charts and different dimensions like X, Y, colors, it will require a lot more effort and expertise to go and find the answer on your own. Now, to help tell the story is where using natural language generation, you can completely automate it. Now, to completely automate it, it's also important that there is a need to have an automated insights. So business analysts and the team get an automated insight out of their data. And for that, it is important that we develop systems wherein through natural language, query generation should happen. The code generation, the SQL, I mean, the data lies in the database should be automated completely. And for that, it is important that we develop models where AI can write those custom codes and generate those SQLs to get the data out of the system and automate the insights. Now, this will not just improve productivity, but it will also enable personalization based on who is consuming the report. I mean, the same report can go at different level, and the individuals can consume. It is going to completely modernize the BI experience. As I said, not just about visualization, but a lot of narrative stories and insights around with it. It will support automated insights, and this will completely innovate and transform the BI as an industry. On my next slide. Yeah, I mean, we see that generative AI is right now in the mainstream, and with generative AI in the mainstream, there is a lot of opportunity to have chat-like interfaces and develop question answering system over your data. Now, the current systems that you see around that is built around textual data or image, but there is a lot of opportunity to harness the tabular data, which usually our business transactions data is, and we can develop interfaces where we can get answers to our common questions, get answers to some of the metrics that the businesses is interested into, and using these we can completely develop a question answering in system for the businesses. I mean, think of it like a data co-pilot. I mean consider that in your journey of data analysis and interpretation, you have a partner in machine which can help you highlight important insights and make it accessible at scale. Here I will walk you through the journey of data co-pilot, its capabilities, and how it learns in the different learns the way we interact and understand through a natural language interface, and then through a natural language generation help you communicate the insights. I mean, with generative AI at scale, there are a lot of foundational models, large language models, which is in front of us, right? We can leverage those foundational large language models. There are a lot of data silos that we see across. We can harness the exponential growth of data by accessing large language models with it, and develop reasoning capabilities, as well as through next token prediction. We can use that to find an insight around that, and develop systems wherein the insights or the answers to the question that lies around different systems can be answered through the query, through the response generation from this large language model. Now, these large language models are very sophisticated, and they can connect on the fly to different data systems, not just your tabular data, but it can mix the tabular data with your textual data and combine all of them and easily access it and develop workflows which can automate a lot of instructions that we usually have in our backend systems. And these systems are designed in a fashion which can continuously and seamlessly learn. So as we give more experience, as we make human and machines work together hand in hand, these systems will just develop more capabilities. It will have more experience, and with experience it is going to get better and better, and help us get answers to around 30% of the questions that we see in our world of reporting, which are normal data pooling. All those can be automated, and the whole experience of analysts can improve with this. We can move on to the next slide. Yeah, thank you. I mean, here I want to talk about capacity plan. I mean, this is a very important space, and as Hans also touched about the forecasting need and to get it. Now, the current goal of the capacity plan is how can we do headcount planning? I mean, better staffing, enable better forecasting, better manage workload in a quarter for the operation team, enable better staffing across teams at very granular level, long-term forecasting, quarter 90 days forecast. The second objective is to have midterm planning. The third one is productivity insight. They also using capacity plan, there are a lot of scenarios that we can learn and run, and we can simulate these scenarios, taking in different levers into account, like meetings, hours, outages, training hours. We have, like, we can combine all these scenarios and many levers we need to save time for our planner. The current problem, the current pain point that we see in the today's capacity plan is there's a lot of human intervention and human judgment involved in making those in getting to those forecasting numbers. And what we have seen here is that a lot of time the process is very manual, it is non-standard, and again it requires a lot more human to produce the same output. It is not data driven, it is not digital, so the numbers that we see is not very transparent, it is not data driven, and again the insights are not automatic. Now, to solve this problem, the goal is to develop a machine learning based system which can transform the whole system and increase the efficiency of the planners, where a machine learning system is going to do forecasting for you in a very automated fashion. It will standardize and simplify the whole process. Because it is data driven, there's little to no human intervention and human judgment involved. The whole planning experience is transformed, because now we have a dashboard in front of us, with the dashboard gives us all the details around our metrics of staffing, headcount planning, and numbers associated with the productivity insights around it. And using this, we convert the data that is getting generated out of it, we convert that into set of actions. So the intelligence is helping the planning team to execute and set up action, and using this we have automated the end-to-end process. So in the end, we make this process simple, intelligent, and automated. So that's the goal through this transformation that we have achieved, and it vastly improved the operational efficiency of the group, and it also improved the overall experience of the customer as well as planners. To my next slide, please. Right, I mean, I gave you 3 examples about different ways in which we are looking to do human-machine partnership. And with this human-machine partnership, the goal has been like, okay, how can we drive more efficiency? How can we produce more with less, right? And how do we make the system more efficient, right? And the end objective is to increase the productivity, but at the same time we innovate and we improve the experience, right, through this transformation. Now, we discussed about data copilot, so the benefits, operational efficiency, experience, and then yes, it leads to achieving more. We are able to scale, and we get the insights quicker. The action is more effective, and it improves, and altogether it enables us to get more analysis done in a very less time. So with this, I end my
Hey, Saurabh, thank you very much. Fantastic presentation. It's great to see what you're doing in the space of AI, especially generative AI, which we haven't seen much of within finance. Thank you. Great presentation. Lots of ideas there and lots of things for everybody to think of. Now that we've seen what everybody what you're doing at Dell. Let us see what our members are doing by launching this polling question. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you can vote, please. The question that I want you to answer today is, to what extent would you say your organization uses AI ML in finance and FP&A? No AI ML is being used at all. We plan to use AI ML in the future. Some AI and ML is being used. Yes, AI ML is being used in finance fully in FP&A. If you can answer, please. So, to what extent would you say your organization uses AI ML in finance and FP&A? No, we're not. We plan to use. Some AI ML is being used. Yes, we are using AI ML. So I'll give it another 5 seconds or so, and I'm going to close the vote, and I'm going to share it with our members. So 53% say no AI ML is used in finance. 33% say they are planning to use. 12% say some AI ML is being used, and 1% say yes, they are using AI ML. Saurabh, how do you see this outcome here?
I pretty much agree that these are very early days of a finance organization using AI ML, but I think it is also exciting that there are like, I think plan to use AI ML is also like 33%. So this shows that there is a lot of action around leveraging AI ML, and I can definitely say in an organization like FP&A, AI ML is going to completely transform the way you're going to operate in your business.
Yeah, absolutely spot on there. So thank you very much. A lot of opportunities there, very definitely. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for voting. I'm now going to hide this, and what we are going to do now is we've got a question from Saurabh to the other panelists. So, panelists, if you can come and join us now. And the question Saurabh would like to find out is, how can you scale up generative AI in finance, and what are the challenges ahead? So Miriam, if we can come to you, what will your answer or your insight be on this? Miriam, I think you are on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so I'm focusing on the human expertise here, and the loss of human expertise can be a challenge. Over-reliance on generative AI models might lead to losing human expertise. While AI can provide valuable insights, the multifactored understanding experienced finance person is still essential for strategic decision making. And the business dynamic environment is another challenge, because the generative AI models are trained based on the historical data, and they cannot rapidly change based on the market dynamics.
Fantastic answer there. I think we all know ChatGPT and the likes, which is what finance is trying to get into, but I'm sure Saurabh will have an answer to this in a bit. So let us go to Chris now. Chris, what is your answer for this, Chris?
Yeah, I think first and foremost is really kind of figuring out the use case for using generative AI and whatnot. You know, AI takes on a lot of different forms, but particularly generative AI in the Office of Finance can play a lot of different roles. I'll actually show a couple of examples later of how FP&A technology is using generative, but it's really all about kind of understanding the use cases, and as Miriam said, understanding the data sample that a lot of this is being generated off of is really, really critical. That's like foundational to the effectiveness of it. And then figuring out how your organization is going to use that. How are you going to use either the data or the text that AI is generating to better help support things that you're trying to solve for? Right? So if you're trying to solve for understanding what the data is telling you, then great. The AI engine can build that narrative, build that text for you. So it's really about understanding all the different factors and you know, working with experts you know, in the field to help you optimize that for your business.
Absolutely spot on. Thank you very much for that. Saurabh, any last comment before I close this section?
No, I fully agree with Chris and Miriam. I think they made very valid point. But I see there is an opportunity wherein a lot of back office work which involves human doing, I mean, a lot of drudgery work, doing data entry, right? And or maybe even in FP&A you do a lot of forecasting, right? So if you want to generate synthetic data and use that as a way to detect anomaly in the system, so there are a lot of ways, and I would say a lot of use cases for sure. But yeah, I mean I think a very valid point from Chris and Mariam, and I'll agree with them.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for the insight. Before we move on to the section, let me just quickly remind our attendees today, you can ask questions via the chat box, so please make sure you do. We will try and answer some today. The rest we will answer via email. So let us now move on to our next session, which is by Miriam. So I will ask the other panelists and myself to turn my webcam off. So Miriam is today going to talk to us about holistic approach for data-driven insight, change management for AI. Over to you, Miriam, whenever you're ready.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Hans. If we can move to the first slide. So today I'm sharing here my experience in learning dealing with the change management while we implemented AI and ML forecasts for our region, one of our region in Novartis as a big pharma company. At Novartis, we replaced the bottom-up exercise for budgeting with AI-led planning and introduced one financial planning. This means that we aimed to reduce the time spending on bottom-up exercise for budget preparation, minimizing the slide preparation for presentation and alignment, and saving the time for the commercial team, especially to focus externally to win for patients and support more patients in the market. We asked the commercial team to operationalize the AI result and the numbers generated by AI based on the historical trend and given the features that was provided to the AI as a simple model. Although the ML forecast demonstrated superior accuracy in the backtesting and AI models had promising outcome, but in the first place, the commercial team did not accept the result. So if we can move to the next slide. Trying to understand what's the drivers here and why we are missing the alignment from the commercial team. We realized that the commercial team, especially the sales team, couldn't trust the result because they couldn't understand the processes here. And the other big element factor here was the fear of job displacement. So they're afraid that AI will replace them and AI will do the exercise for them. And they don't have any control on this target, especially when it's dealing with the sales target. The salespeople were cautious and had more attention to the numbers. So we realized that they were not involved and lack of enough involvement from the beginning of the process of the projection was one of the barriers here. So overcoming those challenges, we came up with an ideas and the solution, and maybe we can move to the next slide. We realized that the education and communication is one of the key here to accelerate and process the change management. We started with explaining the benefit of AI and ML in sales forecasting. Communication should include the explanation of the data sources, algorithm, and the methodology that we use for AI. This transparency helped the stakeholders trust on the AI result and recommendation and in whole the budget process. And we ensured that the AI ML model are tested. So the numbers should be validated and their performance is transparency communicated. Transparency in AI-driven budget is a crucial for building trust among the different stakeholders here. At least that was a case for us. And we proactively address the misconceptions and highlight potential improvement in the model. So the models cannot be perfect at the first place. That's why we ask for the commercial and sales team to be involved to create a kind of co-creating model So we involve the commercial team in the process to build trust, seek their feedback, and work on a model in a way that make it more understandable for our team. So different stakeholders within the organization may have very, varying objectives, priorities, and expectation related to the budgeting. And AI implementation can be a challenge at the beginning. That's why we involve the commercial team to co-create the model. And we highlight the empowering of the people and the human here. The AI is an empowering tool, not a replacement tool. It's a tool to enhance the commercial team's capabilities, and it can be remove the repetitive task or simple analysis for them. Then they can focus on the more value delivery task in the field. That was a missing part that we highlighted in the change management process. And communication and refreshment training was the key as well. Here we need sometimes upskilling or reskilling the workforce dealing with the AI or the AI results to understand the model, to understand the result, and to understand that how to interpret the result of the AI. That's why we ask our commercial team to be involved in the process and to deal with the data science even. Maybe next slide. Here is how we can communicate with the data science, because the commercial team and the data science team, they both speak different languages. We ask our sales team and commercial team to share all their own business knowledge. Basically, based on the business knowledge transfer from the commercial team to the data science, we make a bridge between these two teams and provide the facts about the business, not just the assumption. The models run based on the facts, and define the end user based KPIs, why we are implementing the AI model, why we are leveraging the machine learning forecast here, what's the aim here, and what is our goal. It's not a replacement, it's just free up the time for the team to focus externally and win for the patient, which is a goal for Novartis and all the pharma companies. And remain realistic. The AI cannot do the magic. At the end, it's a human job to interpret the AI recommendations, AI models, and achieve the targets for the cells. Last slide, please. So in overall, we aimed to enhance the planning by leveraging the ML forecast with AI decision thinking and switching the mindset of the organization on data-driven insight. So we try to prioritize the culture of data collection, analysis, and data-driven informed decision-making here. Implementing a robust change management strategy that can include clear communication, stakeholder management, and addressing employees' concern. We create a change management team responsible for guiding the entire organization through this journey and digital transformation. So involving human experts here is the key as well to complete the AI result and capabilities. Both AI and human experts are working together to explore through the data and going beyond the surface level insight. And the last thing, leveraging AI is to drive the forecast accuracy and compelling the storytelling from the FP&A. We are using AI technology to enhance the accuracy of our forecast and then translate this insight into engaging and compelling a story. With that, I hand over to you and get back to you, Hans. I'm done.
Thank you very much, Miriam. A great presentation. I like how you started with giving us the good news, and then, of course, the challenges came afterward. You know, converting your forecasting and making it robust, making it quick, making it, you know, with less errors, etc., was the outcome. But it was hard work. And thank you for sharing all the resistances and how you went through it. So that was fantastic. Let us now look at, through our second polling question, how are our members dealing with what's happening there? So what is the key factor to further advance sorry about that. What is the key factor to further advance the digital journey towards AI and ML within your organization? Is it technology that's stopping you? Is it leadership support that you need? Is it skills and competencies in finance that you need? Or is it the data and processes that are broken that you need to work on? If you can vote, please. What is the key factor to further advance the digital journey towards AI and ML within your organization? Technology, second, leadership, third, skills, fourth, data and processes. So I'll give you another 5 minutes, please. So if you can vote, and then I'm going to close the vote. Closing now and sharing the results. So 17% say technology is what's stopping them, 32% leadership, 27% skills, 24% data and processes. Miriam, what are your thoughts on the outcome here, Miriam?
Actually, the result didn't surprise me. I would say all of them can be a main driver in each individual company and business industry. But the leadership support, it's the key. And we were lucky in Novartis that we had the leadership support to enforce the message for the change management and implement the AI.
Fantastic. And if you look at the outcome, they're more or less there or thereabouts. And amazing to see technology, but of course, technology is all bought in. So a lot of things for us to work on there. So thank you very much for voting, and thank you very much for the insight, Miriam. Let us now go to the question that you have for the other panelists. And to do that, I will request the panelists to join us, please. And your question is, what organizational and cultural hurdles do we expect in AI implementation, and how can we effectively manage these changes? Saurabh, if I can come to you first for an answer.
So when I look at the organizational shift, I think there is a need where finance organizations should have a transformation team. They should have a digital transformation team with a digital strategy on how they want to digitize the system, collect more data, make their processes more seamless and efficient. We also need to do a lot of trainings with our teams, and communication is very important. It's also important to help, get people understand that AI is not deterministic, right? And change management plays a lot of important role in that, right? I also consider another important space is AI ethics. These models are biased. They contain a lot of cooked up facts. So it is also important to create a culture where we have a very responsible AI team looking at those models and enabling human machine partnership and making sure we reduce the bias and make these models more adaptable in the mainstream.
Fantastic answers there. Thank you very much, Saurabh. Chris, can I come to you next, please?
Yeah, I think it really depends on the size of the organization. If you look at a mid-market organization, their biggest hurdle is ultimately going to be that they just don't have the technology in place, to build AI models. Right, you got to have some pretty beefy, pretty powerful technology to kind of help support all of that. But also, having the right skill sets, having the right people, right? If you're at an enterprise type organization, yeah, chances are you have that deep technical expertise on staff. You probably have a data scientist on staff, but those are things that it makes it more difficult to kind of overcome. And then culturally, it's just kind of helping people understand when and where AI makes sense to be used, and not becoming over-reliant on it to run your business.
Fantastic answer there, Chris. Any closing comment from you, Miriam, before we move on to the next session?
No, I agree with both panelists, and to me, it's the same. The change management and set a clear mindset and culture among the organization is the key.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for your answers, panelists. Let us now move to our last presentation, and to do that, we will go to Chris. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you can turn your webcam. Of course, Chris is going to talk to us about how AI and technology elevate the role of FP&A. Over to you, Chris, whenever you're ready.
Thanks very much, Hans. So I think first and foremost, AI plays a really critical role in a lot of process automation. The role of FP&A has changed drastically over the last decade, and a lot of that has to do with just the increased focus of FP&A focused technology. And so we stand to benefit from that, right? AI and just technology in general helps automate a lot of routine tasks. And so this ultimately allows us to shift the things that we're doing on a day-to-day basis to really be able to focus on more value generating activities. So whether it's data analysis and data prediction, with respect to forecasting, with respect to generative AI to help us interpret the data, or whether it has to just do with building scenario analysis or forecasting and budgeting or resource optimization. These are all things that historically, required a lot of classic number crunching and a lot of, really, spreadsheet heavy modeling. And these are things that ultimately, with both purpose-built technology and AI's ability to automate a lot of routine tasks of extracting data, of entering data, if you're running your consolidation and doing eliminations, all those things that we used to do, it really just helps us. It makes our day-to-day better, helps us enjoy our jobs better. And so that allows these highly analytical minds, finance people, accounting people, we're all pretty analytical, right? We're data people. We can uncover opportunities within the data. And being able to allow those individuals to spend their time understanding that information and analyzing it, really partnering more with the business leaders that they serve and that they work with, and spending more time focusing on the future. There's no better team in an organization than FP&A, whose job is to guide the organization into the future, right? You're responsible for the forecasting process, right? So it's ultimately something that if we can spend more time doing all those things, we will just be better contributors to our organization. So as we kind of move on to the next section, what I'm actually going to talk about is some really cool applications of AI in FP&A software today, right? If you think about the evolution of any piece of technology, AI is no different. It started off as something that really was, just used in the enterprise and required a lot of, custom coding. Everything was kind of custom built. And then as any kind of software, any kind of good piece of software does, over time, organizations and technology companies try to find ways to package that up, to kind of democratize it and make it so that, it doesn't matter what size of business you're running, you have the ability to leverage that technology. And so the cool thing is that applications of AI are active and well in software at FP&A today. One thing comes to mind that a lot of accounting systems have adopted, and this is anomaly detection, right? Detecting fraud, detecting transactions that are, erroneous, potentially detecting transactions that need to be matched if you're doing your intercompany eliminations, right? These are all things that are actively happening today, and I think that's pretty cool, right? That's really useful risk management in a business that people are being able to leverage today in their business through AI. I'll show a couple of examples here kind of coming up of insights and natural language examples. We all have Siri or Google, and the great part is that applications are starting to use, as Sharab said, more natural language approaches to analysis and retrieving answers to questions. So there's some really cool examples that we're seeing in the market around that. But also insights, leveraging AI to help you understand what you're reading and understand the analysis and the story behind the data. So as I kind of move on to my next slide, I'm actually going to show a couple of really cool examples of how FP&A software is uncovering insights based on, generative AI and machine learning. So this example here, this is kind of a classic, very classic example where someone gets a chart, right? They get a piece of information that inherently is visual, and visual analytics is great. It really is the almost simplest form of understanding information without having to be a numbers and dollars and cents minded individual, right? It really, in many ways, as I said, democratizes information. But inherently with that, the most common issue with visual analytics or even just any kind of report is the fact that people can't always interpret what the data is telling them. And so AI does a really cool job here. It actually tells the individual, if they wish to know, to understand the narrative behind the data. And so in the theme of AI, human-led, AI-supported decision making, that's exactly what we're able to do here, is that people can ultimately look at this piece of information. They can look at the narrative and help them support their ultimate decision making, right? So it uncovers meaningful insights, trends in the data that may not even be visually on the screen. Think about what AI does is it looks at the entire data sample and tells you more than what you know or more than what you see. And so this really kind of creates a little bit more of a level playing field when it comes to interpreting information. It really just ensures that all stakeholders are ultimately, on the same page. So this is one really cool example. As we move into my next example, common thing that people do in FP&A is budgeting and forecasting, right? And so understanding the history and understanding where those contributions to the forecast came from, it's so imperative that when we're using AI or we're using something that someone keyed into a cell as a part of our forecast, that we understand the context of that, right? Was that an AI generative number? Was that a human generated number? That matters, right? And so the contribution of those insights and those forecasts really matter as well. But the most common thing, in the world of FP&A when it comes to budgeting and forecasting and reporting is what caused that variance, right? It's the number one thing that anybody sees is they look at that, oh, geez, 12% off of our budget or our forecast. What caused it? Right? Well, let's leverage AI to help us maybe steer us in the right direction and break down that analysis and generate those comments, because we all have to provide the comments, to our CFO or the board, to help us generate some of those comments to help us, guide us in the right direction. Again, not just totally replace our human intuition or our human interaction with the data, but helps guide us in the right direction to help, get us started. And I think, for a lot of people, that's when their use of like ChatGPT and other tools like that is like, just give me an idea, get me started, I'll take it the rest of the way. And so contribution insights is a really cool example of that. And then our final example is, your classic financial reporting, month-end reporting, board reporting is I have to provide commentary to the board or the ownership, or, if you're doing XBRL, disclosure reporting. These are all things that you sit there and you say, gee, what should I say? And so again, get yourself started, right? Like get yourself moving in that right direction. Explain more than what the person sees on the screen. And so again, AI does a really great job of understanding the context behind the data. And so rather than just sitting there and saying, oh, this is my commentary, get yourself, make yourself lives a little bit easier. Understand the trends, understand the variances faster, minimize that back and forth between finance and your business of anecdotal comments. Well, this individual thinks this. Well, as Miriam says, the AI and machine learning models are based on facts. They're based on the data, right? So sometimes removing some of the anecdotes can be helpful as well. And so using that generative AI commentary can kind of do that a little bit. And so this ultimately, at the end of the day, no matter who is providing those comments about the data, it just helps you kind of get going in the right direction. So I think this is really cool. It's a really cool application of AI-based technology in the office of the CFO and how customers are able to use that in today's world. So I think we have a discussion question, which will be my last slide, Hans.
Yeah, thank you very much, Chris. Great showcasing of what AI is actually, generative AI is actually doing in the Office of Finance there. And now, as you said, we've got a great question from you. Let me ask the other panelists to come and join us, and we will go through this question. So, how do you help decision makers understand how best to use AI in decision making, and any anything to watch out for? Shorab, can you turn your camera on as well? Miriam, can we start with you?
Yeah, sure. For me, it's understanding their needs and goals and identify appropriate use cases. Determine where AI can add the most value in the organization and remain realistic, as a cautious understanding the collaboration between AI and human expertise. Understanding that AI is a tool to amplify the human decision making, not to replace it.
Absolutely spot on. A great answer there. Shorab, to you.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think Mariam has covered most of the point, but most important thing would be to really identify those use cases which produce high value, high impact, right? So identifying those high value, high impact, but at the same time, low hanging fruit where effort is less. I think as long as we can have that matrix defined for the use cases, which may not require very heavy skill, but if we can deliver that quickly, if we can deliver and show value to those proof of concepts, and most importantly, usually in back office finance, there is a lot of manual intervention in the decisions are made. So if we can get rid and eliminate some of those processes by developing intelligent agents, I think that is the best way where you can push this in mainstream. But make sure that anything you develop, you fact check it. So I want to put that important thing, that it's important that you just don't let machine run away with it.
Fantastic, great point. Any quick closing comment from you, Chris, before we move to the next section?
I think you guys nailed it. That's really good advice. Thanks.
Thank you very much, all the panelists. And now we come to our key takeaway section. But let me just remind our attendees today, please keep asking questions. We've got loads of questions to go through. We will answer some, but the rest will still be answered to you via email. So now we go to our key takeaways, which is a very quick conclusion from each member of the panel. Shorab, what will your conclusion 1 point be?
I think it is very exciting. I think use of technology is important, but at the same time, it's also important that we organize it well. We don't let a machine run away with everything. And yes, it will drive efficiency. It will help us achieve more with less. But at the same time, we need to make sure that there are policies around AI safety before we get it into mainstream.
Brilliant. Thank you. Miriam, your quick key takeaway there?
Yeah, as Sharon mentioned, it's an exciting moment for all of us using the new technology, AI and ML. But at the same time, we need to ensure that the AI is a tool to empower human, not to replace the human. And still, we need the expertise of the human intelligence to interpret the result of the AI, and which we cannot let the AI and machine lead us for every single things.
Absolutely spot on. And finally, Chris, quick comment from you.
Yeah, I think the great part is that technology for FP&A teams has evolved so much in the last decade, as I said, and to be at a point where you may not be leveraging it, is in many regards, it's kind of like, if you didn't have a cell phone in 2023, you'd be asking someone why. And I think to see the results that FP&A teams are delivering using FP&A technology and using AI, it's an exciting time to be a part of this world. So I would just encourage organizations to kind of look at those processes and see how you can leverage it with the technology that's available to you.
Fantastic conclusion, panelists. So let us now, in the essence of time, just move quickly to our Q&A session. And I know Miriam has got to leave us shortly, so I will come to you, Miriam. We have loads of questions, but a very exciting question here for you, Miriam. I think is a little bit of misunderstanding for people. But to what extent do you think training people in the use of all the different sort of language, LLM, etc., can help you overcome the resistance that you faced?
I would say the training, it's all about the understanding the AI and ML overall, not finding what's going on and happening in the black box, because to learn, the organization going through this transformation and digital, and we cannot expect that everyone be a professional in data science. The training that we set it up for our team is about to overall understanding of the AI processes in the ML forecast, not going beyond that and complicated with the programming and modeling. But at the same time, continue communication and transparency and update them was the key for us.
Absolutely spot on there. There is a little bit of an understanding of the languages is required by a few people, not all of the people. But I think a lot of the resistances that you highlighted and how you dealt with it is very, very important compared to everybody learning the languages. So thank you very much for that, Miriam. Thank you for the answer. Let us go to Shorab now. Shorab, we've got so many questions as well for you, but I think there's a bit of a confusion here, and this question shows it. There's concern about privacy and data security in regards to AI, specifically ChatGPT. And I think when we talked about generative AI and the examples you and Chris took us through, people still confusing that with use of ChatGPT. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that? And also, what are a bit of their limitation?
Okay, a very good question. I think a very relevant question in today's time. First of all, I would like to set a context here, right? You don't have to use ChatGPT to develop every application, right? ChatGPT has got one of the large language model, which is a proprietary model based on GPT-4. But there are tons of open source large language model available, which you can download it, put it on your premise, and have your own securities around it, and train it and make it available for your customers. Now, if you want to use ChatGPT, then yes, you will use it through Azure, right? But when you build your policies around your contracts using with ChatGPT, you can put that on what kind of privacy you want to have. For example, the prompts that you write, you can even hide on the prompts and just make it private, right? And so it is more around the legal and policy making team that needs to work with Microsoft and OpenAI as a company to have that level of security established, either at the prompt level, at the data level, at the user level. But I believe there is a lot of governance policies already around, and we can have those security. So it's not a lot of risk involved, but you need to work it through your legal team. That would be my advice.
No, fantastic answers there. I think a lot of people don't realize as well, and you know, there is a private account as well as the public account, and the private account has got a lot of governance behind it. But of course, you know, if you're buying model and you are keeping it on premise, then it's a completely different thing. So security is important, but there's a lot of ways around it. So Shorab, thank you for that. We go to Chris now, and Chris, interesting question again, and all of these questions could have gone to all three of you, by the way. So question is, at what stage should a company adapt AI within finance? Is there an ideal percentage of time spent on data crunching benchmark?
I think there's varying degrees of which, you know, all finance departments should be adopting AI, right? Like at a bare minimum, there's so many repetitive tasks related to like data entry and data exchange and data integration, all these things that, like, as I said before, you shouldn't be sitting there in 2023 still doing a lot of this, right? You should be leveraging technology that's available to you. So I think at a bare minimum, you know, all organizations should be leveraging AI for its automation capabilities. But as an organization grows, it's all going to be coming down to like the demands of their business, right? If there's a demand for more frequent forecasting, more accurate forecasting, then obviously there's only so much human beings can do. You don't want to keep on throwing headcount to solve your problems, right? So it really kind of depends on the demands, and I think also the volatility of the type of business that you're running. AI can really help you with, you know, keeping up on a lot of those forecasting and projection-based models and tasks that an FP&A team has to do.
Fantastic, great answer there. Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, that's all we have time in terms of Q&A, but keep sending them till the end. We will answer all of them via our esteemed panelists on email. So Just a couple of last closing slides that I've got to take you through. What have we got next? We've got a couple of webinars for your diary, so please put that in your diary. And then just a reminder that we've got our FP&A Trends Maturity Model assessment tool on our website, and you can find the link there. So please go and utilize it, map yourself, map your organization, see where you are, but also see what leading organizations are doing as well. Finally, I will ask the panelists to come and join me, and it's a great time now to say thank you to our panelists to start with, Shorab and Chris, as well as Miriam, for a fantastic insight, fantastic sets of slides, and all the questions and answers. I would like to thank our sponsor, Prophix, as well, for making this possible today. But most of all, I would like to thank all the attendees today for making time. Hopefully, this has been a great meeting for you as well, and you've taken quite a lot. This is how you keep in touch with us. So until the next time, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for attending. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. See you at the next meeting. Thank you very much. Goodbye for now. Bye-bye.